Attention Guilford County, are you ready for positive change in our schools? Introducing Bill Goebel, a true champion for our students, parents, and teachers. With years of experience and unwavering dedication, Bill Goebel is the leader we need on the school board. As a current member representing District 3, Bill is already making a difference, shaping policies that benefit our community. Vote for Bill Goebel for school board, and let's build a brighter future for Guilford County together. Paid for by the committee to elect Bill Goebel for school board.
Coming up in this episode of Finding Common Ground.
You got Democrats supporting you now, Republicans supporting you, and independents supporting you. What's so appealing about you? I'm the good-looking black guy. What's going on, man?
I think we need to take care of our schools and our kids, which is our biggest asset, not fight over, 1,600 acres. If the people in Summerfield want to go protest it, that's their right, for sure. But I'd sure like to have them to go protest that we're underfunding schools. We're ranked 47th in the nation.
There are two sides to every coin.
How do we deal with racial issues when they affect relationships?
Finding common ground on all those issues that we come against.
There's black and there's white.
And I think as Christians, we have to learn how to get together because we're not in heaven.
I've met more interesting people just by God just bringing them in.
Republicans and Democrats.
But a lot of times, when it comes to race and it comes to culture and it comes to perception, even as Christians, we don't always understand. We look at it through our lenses.
There's Bill.
I grew up in a suburb of Cleveland called Parma.
Any black people in Parma?
There was not one.
Not one black person,
Not
Bill?
one.
Come on, Bill, you got to have one. Token black person, a token.
And there's Odell.
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, public housing, single mom, divorced single mom of 4 kids. And I came up through segregation and all that kind of stuff.
If a black person drove through the town, the police would stop them and escort them out.
Bill and Odell are finding common ground.
A part of what we have to do is listen to each other, find the common ground, and question, not questioning you like you're on a witness stand, but questioning you for a better understanding. Father God, we come to you in the precious name of Jesus Christ. God, we just thank you for all your grace and mercy and how you just blessed us and keep us, God. God, we continue to pray for our great country, the United States of America. And sometimes we forget just how good we have it here until you go outside of the country, God. And how nice it feels when you hit American soil again. How nice it feels when you go through customs. How nice it feels, God, when you're back home. So, God, we thank you for the grace, and we thank you for the mercy, and we thank you for our home, the United States of America. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for air conditioning. It is hot outside and humid, and by you providing people that develop technology and electricity, and we can live in comfort. So we thank you, Lord, for that. Thank you for safe travels out of the country and good return. Lord, we just happy to be home in the United States of America. Amen.
Goebel, guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
What happened?
I was once told by a good friend of mine, white guy, he said, Odell, black people are too emotional when it comes to politics. He said, I've seen black people at school boards meetings and other places, city council meeting, just yelling and screaming and getting so upset, the big veins come popping out of the front of their head and everything else. And he said, y'all just get so emotional. And as white people, elected officials, we sit there and we just let you get it all out. And we just sit there and look at you. And then when you get finished, then we go ahead and vote the way we're going to vote. He said, black people, you are too emotional when it comes to politics, but white folks, we are more rational when it comes to politics. So I thought about something, Goebel. I thought about something. I said, the turmoil in Summerfield. And I know you don't agree with the long hand from Raleigh coming, telling people what to do because you've been there before. But, this whole thing, man, on Bill 909, the de-annexation bill, where Phil Berger, Republican, voted for it. But interesting enough, Senator Gladys Robinson, a Democrat, voted for it. And the only senator who didn't vote for it was Michael Garrett because he was not present for the vote. So Bill 909 passed 34-12 in the Senate and is heading to the House of Representatives, what many people think is going to slide straight through. And I heard, Bill, that on Wednesday, the good people of Summerfield are going to Raleigh and have a protest. They're going to have a rally and a protest against the bill at 10 a.m. And I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe my friend got it wrong. Maybe the folks who are emotional now and responding are not Black folks. You know, because Senator Phil Berger district, I didn't know it, but his districts include Summerfield. And the whole thing's over the developer David Couch versus the town officials. And I think they used to call themselves Voices of Summerfield or Saving Summerfield campaign intended to pressure lawmakers to vote against the bill. And many said that it was a sneaky move by Phil Berger to slip that in on the bill. And I just think about my good friend, Mayor Tim Sessions of Summerfield. So, Bill, when did rich white people start rallying and being emotional? What happened? Because Summerfield was the richest, in my opinion, the richest county in the state of North Carolina. How did someone wasn't rational enough to say, wait a minute, guys, we're destroying this thing. We're burning the house down. What happened, Goebel? Help me understand, Bill. What happened when white folks got emotional and said, we will just tear the whole thing up, and it's being torn up, Bill, because unintended consequences are still consequences. Help a brother out, Goebel. Help me out. I just don't understand.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Never heard of it before. No, it's a sad thing. It's unfortunate that they couldn't come up with a compromise to find some common ground to work this out. And developers they're developers for a reason. They develop things. And David Couch wanted to develop his property the way he wanted, and the town of Summerfield, which has jurisdiction over it, said, no, we don't like those plans. And I don't know the whole backstory because I got in at the tail end of it, but it's a shame that people can't sit down and find some common ground. That's the thing. And now it's going to happen, and people are going to go to Raleigh and protest, and probably still happen. And I don't know what's going to happen with Summerfield.
You think anybody going to go to Raleigh and protest? And again, let me state, because you've said it so many times, you are not for what happened. You're not for it. You're not for the fact that Raleigh can reach his hands down and do what they're doing. Why aren't you for it, Goebel?
Well, here's the thing. I think we got more important things to worry about. I think we need to take care of our schools and our kids, which is our biggest asset, not fight over, 1,600 acres. If the people in Summerfield want to go protest it, that's their right for sure. But I'd sure like to have them go protest that we're underfunding schools. We're ranked 47th in the nation, 36 for teachers. We've been decreasing school funding for years, and our schools are in disarray because of it. We need about $12 billion, almost $13 billion just for the maintenance of our schools to fix them up in the state. Nobody's protesting over that.
Excuse me. You made me cough on that one, Goebel, because, this is what I'm hearing. Couch, and it's always like this, Couch, who has donated to Berger's campaigns with an S, is seeking to build a large mixed-use housing and retail development in town. The plans have encountered resistance from officials and residents who believe the density of the project is inappropriate for the town of 11,000 people. Now, it's interesting, Bill. I'm like, okay, now I understand density per capita and everything else. So I went to the census. You want to know something? You go to the census. So real quickly, 2022 census says, as of 2022 U.S. Census, there were 10,951 people, 3,902 households, and 3,227 families residing in the town of Summerfield. But in 2010, census says, 10 years earlier, at the 2010 census, there were 10,233 people, 2,518 households, and 2,094 families residing in the town. The population density, and I think that's what they say this is all about, was 258.9 per square mile. There were 2,653 housing units at an average density of 97.9 per square mile. The racial makeup of the town was 93.47% Caucasians, 4.03 African Americans, 0.44 Native Americans, 0.64 Asians, 0.56 from other races, and 0.85 from two or more races. Hispanics or Latinos were 1.42% of the population. And this is the interesting thing part, Bill. It says there were 2,018 households, of which 41% had children. So it's a growing situation. And the age is right. Everything is right. Median income was $71,738, and the median family income was $79,000. So, Bill, people are making money in Summerfield, and it's crazy. Not crazy. That's not fair. It's interesting to me that this powerful, influential community has gotten itself tied in knots. It's almost like when I was young, I had this big issue, Bill. How do I tie my tennis shoes without getting my shoelaces in a knot? And sometime when I would get them in a knot, I would double down and get a knot on top of a knot.
You buy loafers.
Exactly.
You buy loafers.
So, Bill, these are intelligent people, powerful people, influential people, people who are in some ways used to getting their way. And Burgers, long arm from Raleigh, reached down and said, no, this is what we're going to do, because I thought Tim Sessions had a deal on the table, and then the election came and the folks who were going with the deal got kind of knocked out, and the new people said, no way, Jose, we're not going to do this. And now this is the situation we're in that I don't think is good for anybody, Bill. I don't think it's good for the state. I don't think it's good for Summerfield. I don't think it's good for the developer couch. I think this is the type of bad blood that lasts for a long time, my friend.
Well, it's interesting. The new crew fired the city manager who'd been there, I guess, more than 10 years, and didn't give him a severance package, didn't give him health care, and his wife had cancer. And then en masse, the staff of Summerfield Town resigned all at once. I'm wondering what the heck's going on. You don't see that happen where an entire staff resigns and walks out. I had a company I worked with for my maintenance, and they called us in to help develop a maintenance training program. And, I was listening to them, what they wanted to do and why they wanted to do it.
Uh-huh.
And I said, what was the trigger that got you so motivated to want to do this? And they said, well, our maintenance department one day packed up their tools, put them in their pickup truck, and all 25 of them walked out of the factory.
Wow.
You can't run a factory without maintenance people. So what caused that? There's a reason for that. Like if you look at turnover rate in a company, you look at some markers when you're analyzing a company. Longevity of people is an important indicator that people like to work there. It's a great place to work. You're compensating properly. They're working. They're happy. They're producing. When you get a high turnover rate, it tells you that none of that is working. And on top of that, it costs you a ton of money to retrain people.
Wow.
So, the turnover rate in Summerfield is not 100%, but it's in the 90s.
Yeah, that's not good. That's hard to believe. Let me tell you something else that's hard to believe. I'm minding my own business, and I look in the op-ed section, and it says Democrats for Goebel. Oh, well, wait a minute.
Did you write that?
No. I said, let me clean my glasses. But I'm going to read it because we have a national audience and people have been keeping up with the Goebel for School Board saga. It says Democrat for Goebel. And I'm going to ask you how you feel about this when I get through reading it, my friend. It says, as a resident of Guilford County School District 3, I have watched with shock, worry, and more than a little embarrassment the seating of a school board member by the General Assembly. Hard-fought efforts to prevent this were not successful, and a candidate not of my choosing was given the District 3 seat. Now, we have an opportunity to choose someone to represent us. We have an opportunity to vote, and our votes has never been more important. We all want what is best for every child, which means strong and well-funded public schools. We all want teachers and support staff fairly compensated and appreciated. These issues are not, of course, entirely in the preview of our school board, but Board of Education members must believe in and advocate for them. Of these three candidates running in District 3, after interviews and study, I endorse Bill Goebel. Bill cares about our children, and his volunteered and professionally record clearly shows this. He regularly attends school board meetings. He advocates for fairness and sufficient funding. He is open to learning and does not assume there is nothing to learn. A trait all too present in the other two candidates. I am a proud Democrat, but will part with the Democratic ticket for this school board seat to vote for Bill. He has earned it, and I invite my fellow District 3 voters to do the same. Lizzie Bidel Greensboro. And Lizzie, if I mispronounce your first or last name, excuse me. I'm just shocked. Democrat for Goebel. Goebel, what in the world is going on? You got Democrats supporting you now, Republicans supporting you, and independents supporting you. What's so appealing about you? I'm the good-looking black guy. What's going on, man?
She must have known I come from Parma. No, that was very nice of her to do that. And Lizzie, if you're listening, thank you so much. If I've met her, it was only on a Zoom call. We might have met before. I've talked to her a couple times. We've had some interviews, and I didn't know she was going to do that. That came in unsolicited. And I got a note the other day that person that was a Republican that switched to independent, he sent in a similar thing to the News and Record saying independence for Goebel.
Wow.
So I'm trying to cross all party lines and focus on the main thing, which are the kids. And I don't care about parties. You know, people say, are you a D or an R? What are you? And I say, I'm a K. Like, what is a K? I said, it's for the kids. That's what I'm about. And if you vote your party ticket, that's certainly your prerogative. But I'd ask you to think about who's most qualified to help the kids in the school system. And that's how you ought to vote. And in fact, that's how you ought to vote for most candidates. Who's the most qualified?
Well, you know, it's interesting. This young lady, I need to look her up, but I heard she's a very influential Democrat.
Really? Yeah. I don't know. She, I don't run in circles with Republicans much anymore. And
did you get kicked out of the circles, banned from the circles, sued from the circles? What else happened here?
Let's see. I was censored, sued, charged with party disloyalty, and the state of the General Assembly changed the law twice. And the first time in the history of North Carolina, they put a law in to kick somebody off a school board.
Wow. Is that the same folks who was messing with our good town of Summerfield?
Well, somebody voted for it because it passed.
Wow.
So
you know what? You just said a mouthful, my friend.
So I was at a town hall meeting, and a couple of people got up and spoke about a letter that was written by the chairperson of the school board and the vice chair. And it was sent to the mayors of everybody in Guilford County. Okay. And I'd like to share part of it. I couldn't get a copy of it. I had to file for public records.
Wow.
So I got a copy through public records. And this one happened to be to Mayor Vaughn, but it went to everybody, and nobody picked up. I don't think anybody supported it. You've likely heard Guilford County Schools started a high-dosage tutoring program and learning hub. This is the result of having COVID issues with our kids. We went back 10 years in learning because of COVID. So this high-dosage tutoring and learning hub allows those kids that want to move forward to really move forward, get back on track. Well, the funding for that came from money for COVID. And it says here in this letter, these programs have proven to be very valuable and have demonstrated effectiveness, providing students who need more robust instructions with the tools they need to succeed. The cost for this program is $8.3 million, which runs out in 2024. Therefore, and I'm paraphrasing here, therefore, the chairperson and vice chair are saying, we would like you, the town, to provide $650 per student to help do this high dosage teaching and learning hubs. and every one of the cities turned them down. So here's the thing that I don't get. Everybody talks about schools are bad or not doing enough and this and this. And their answer is, hey, we already pay taxes. Our tax money should cover this. Well, it didn't. This money came from the federal government. And it was put in a program that actually worked really well. And so my thing is put up or shut up. You know, if you're gonna back the schools, $650 a student, I know is a lot for some towns. It's not a small amount. But what's more important to our future than our kids?
Do you think the towns had the money, or someone like Summerfield right now, which is the richest, I was told, and I might be wrong, so the richest county in the state.
Vicious city, you mean?
Yeah, the richest city in the state. Thank you. They might not have the money, Bill, with everything that's going on, because I think they're being sued now or something. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's I don't know.
Well, they're going to have to pay attorney fees.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars attorney fees.
The fight against the state?
I'm sure they got lawyers to give them advice where they stand with Couch and where they stand with the state legislature. I mean, they hired lawyers to do that. It wasn't, they didn't go to Odell and Bill and say, what do you guys think?
No, they didn't come to Odell or Bill. Well, they didn't come to Odell. But the thing about it is, I was surprised that Senator Phil Berger, that's his territory.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. Not anymore. So the information I read today was that was his territory. So
once they redistricting, he
cut it out.
Summerfield's no longer in his district.
So he carved that out.
Yep.
Wow. You know, whether you agree or disagree, and I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. This is not Bill's talking. This is Odell talking. Whether one agree or disagree, Phil Berger, that's a bad man when it comes to politics now. Senator Phil Berger, now when it comes to politics, Senator Phil Berger is the man in the state of North Carolina. I think, Bill, that he's quite even probably more powerful than the governor of the state of North Carolina. And Berger's been at this a long time. He knows the game.
Yeah, he is more powerful, particularly now with a supermajority. They can override a veto, which they've been doing on a regular basis. You know, I know Phil, and he's a good guy. And I've met David Couch, and he's a good guy. And I've met Tim Sessions, and he's a great guy. You know, they're all good people. These are not bad people. They're not bad people. What they need to do is sit down and find common ground.
Well, Tim is almost like lame duck right now, because I think that it's a 4-vote lock, and it's Tim and another gentleman. What's his name? Wait a minute. It's Tim and another gentleman, and I think his name is Councilman John Doggett, if I'm not mistaken. So Mayor Tim Sessions and Councilman John Doggett is 2 against the others, and the others are winning. I know. You know, last show we said Mary Kay is on the way.
Yeah. I
got the answer for Summerfield. Yeah.
What's that?
Call John Hardister. Call John Hardister. Almost like the bat phone and the bat light, because they called Hardister the last time on you, Goebel. They called him twice. So why are you looking at me like that?
Well, John's not even in my district.
He wasn't in your district when he went and filed that thing against you.
No, he wasn't.
So,
and I like John. John's a good guy. I don't have any heartache over what he did. I totally understand why he did it.
Why did he do it, Bill? Why is your heart so big and so full of forgiveness? Why did he do it? Help me understand.
Well, he was receiving tremendous pressure from the Republican Party here in Guilford County. And I had people call me and say, hey, I signed your petition to be on there. And they went and checked it and saw it. And they called me and gave me a hard time. You need to take my name off.
Wow.
I've had people call me. So I'd take a magic marker, show them the picture before and take a picture after and say, your name's crossed out.
And you take the picture and send it to them because it was just that.
I want to be ethical. If they're afraid of the Republican Party, I get it. I don't want to put them in a bad position. I'll go get another signature. I'll just go get another signature.
Obviously you did.
Yeah. So, now when they see me, they know I know. And I don't kick it in their face. I treat them nice.
Do you think they'll vote for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think
Because when you get behind closed doors,
Amen.
nobody knows.
Let me tell you, those people are going to vote for me in a Minnesota minute. I think so.
I've heard of a New York second. Now we got a Minnesota minute.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I don't want to be overconfident, but I think they will. I think they don't like being bullied. And the Republican Party bullied me, and continue to do it. And is interesting. I was at the Cove, Billy Graham's Cove, for a men's retreat.
Yeah.
And it was years ago. I was invited by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in North Carolina as his guest, and it was mainly Republican politicians, everything from mayors to senators. I mean, Ted Budd was there with his son, and it was a time to reflect on ourselves in our relationship with God, and to say, are we doing God's work? Are we doing the right thing?
Right.
And my roommate was a guy named Ted Alexander, who's a senator from down there in Charlotte, great guy. And so I went to it, and I went. When I go to these places I've never been to before, and I don't know many people, I like to observe and absorb to see what's going on before I step into anything.
Right.
And so, I observed that these people were good people. There was some craziness talk, but for the most part, it was pretty common sense and biblically sound. So I went this past year, and it was a whole different group in the sense that a lot of the politicians weren't there. There were some, but not many. And the group that was speaking was pretty radical.
What does radical mean?
Well, they were professing that God empowered Trump to become president. They didn't say that, but that's what the message was, the underlying message. And so I just sat back and observed it. Now, there were a bunch of nice guys that I think I met a couple guys from 4 years ago or 3 years ago. And they remembered because I had Boy Scout stuff on. They said, "Oh, you're the Boy Scout." And I said, "Yeah, I'm still am." And
why do you take so much pride in being a Boy Scout? I mean, that's the, if I cut you, you bleed. What color Boy Scout bleed? Red, white, and blue?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. Because you can't go wrong with duty to God, duty to country, service to others, and never worry about yourself. And if we could teach all our kids that, we'd be a much better society. So it's the starfish example, the kid that was walking down the beach and all these starfish. And remember, Bev picked up a starfish, didn't she?
Yeah, when we were over in Cayman Islands, Bev picked up starfish, and Odell was picking ripe mangoes off the tree, eating them.
Yeah, that was mango heaven. We didn't have any problem finding a mango. But, the starfish model is that a young kid was picking up these starfish and throwing them back, and thousands of them. And an old guy came by and said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm saving starfish." And he goes, "You'd never be able to save all of them. There's too many of them." And he goes, throws one in the water. He goes, "Just save that one." And that's how we ought to look at one kid at a time. And maybe you get lucky and get two, but you do one kid at a time. And, we had Shelby on here, and she was an Eagle Scout, one of the first female Eagle Scouts.
Right.
Was the keynote speaker. I mean, what a great young lady she is.
Yeah.
She's a future leader.
Right.
She's going to run a corporation or foundation or
be president.
She could easily do that. Why is she so special? Because we gave her a chance to grow. And she was talking about when she first started, she was nervous. She didn't know what to do.
Right.
She had no mentor because there weren't females before. But we allow kids to make mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and help them pick them up and let them go again.
Goebel, have I ever told you this? A long time ago, a buddy of mine told me, a white guy, a good friend of mine, he said, Odell, black people are too emotional. He said, when it comes to politics, you all get there and you argue and you fuss, and almost like you're going to have a stroke, veins come out on your head and everything. And he says, and we sit there as white people, just listen to you all, elected officials, council people, sit and listen to you. And when you get through, we go ahead and cast our vote the way we want to, because we as white folks are more rational when it comes to politics. I don't know if that's still the case, Bill, because it appears that the good people of Summerfield is going up and protest. Usually poor people do protesting. And not trying to be funny. I know somebody's going to hit me up. Odell, man, you crazy. Usually poor people out the street protesting. Usually very wealthy white folks not out protesting. Goebel, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about.
What'd you protest for?
I protest at Red and White. Used to be a grocery store in our neighborhood when I was about 8 or 9. They didn't hire black people in the store. It was all white folks. This is Charleston, South Carolina, back in, I was 9, born in 1960, around 69, 1969.
Yeah, not that long ago.
No. And the majority of people who shopped in the store, 90-something%, were black folk who shopped in the store, and they wouldn't hire a black person in the store at all.
What'd they give the reason for? Prejudice?
Bill, South Carolina, in the late 60s, early 70s, white folks didn't have to give a reason for nothing.
They just did it.
Just did it.
Out of hate.
I ain't gonna say it's hate, just did it out of the fact that I can do it.
Wow.
I mean, that's where people like, Odell, you racist. I probably do have some racist tendencies because of the way I was raised and the way I came up. So I'll be the first to admit I have my bias, my prejudice, and my stereotypes, but God is working on me. But guys, this thing has an effect on you. You say, well, go get a therapist. I am my therapist. I am my therapist, Goebel.
Yeah, I understand.
But what I'm saying is this, though. When you go through all that stuff, man, and you protest and you see that your protest makes a difference, because they hired one black guy, Solomon Coles, in the meat department. And we thought we did something, man. We got a black person hired.
How do you think he felt?
That's a great question. I never thought about it, because Solomon was a good guy. But the bottom line is, if we quit shopping in the store, that forced the store to make a decision because the majority of the customers were black. Now, how does the good people of Summerfield go and make Phil Berger do anything? That's different dynamics. How are you going to make the most powerful man in the state of North Carolina change his mind? I don't see them winning that, Goebel. I don't see them winning that. And I don't see all the people of Summerfield, all 10,000 of them, going up to Raleigh. That's just me. That's me.
You think if 10,000 show up, it'd make a difference?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, because sometimes when you swing for the fence and you miss, it's consequences.
So what's the lesson learned for Summerfield in all this?
I am not in a position to lecture and or tell Summerfield what to do or what not to do. But what I will say is, from a black person who's had similar situations, not at this high level, because this rich white people problems, Bill. We're going to annex a certain land, and who's fighting over annexing? Listen, I grew up in the projects. It was no annexing. This rich white people problems we talking about here. So I can't give them advice.
You probably didn't know what annexing was.
I know what annex was. In the South Carolina, if you had a neighborhood and the city decided they're going to do a highway through your neighborhood or take your neighborhood, that was eminent domain. It couldn't spell it. So I'm not in a position. But what I will say is this: sometimes a good run is better than a bad stand.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's going to be a mess.
I think Custard might agree with you on that.
Well, I think it's going to be a mess now because...
we ought to get Tim Sessions on our podcast.
Man, Tim's a good dude. Tim's my friend.
Why don't you ask
Tim's
him?
My friend. I need to ask him, hey, Tim, yo, bro, you have an open invitation to come on the show and talk about the lessons, because the good-looking black guy from the projects or the poor black guy from the dirt roads of South Carolina. People say, Odell, how can you be from public housing and the dirt roads of South Carolina? You just need to come to South Carolina. They know how to do it. We got public housing and dirt roads all in the same neighborhood. So come on, Tim, come on up and talk about what happened, man. When did it happen? How did Humpty Dumpty fall off the wall? We need to know what happened, because, hey, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And I'm sad to say, but I think the reality is that Humpty Dumpty has fell off the wall. And protest, if you may, that may make you feel better, but don't go and do what happened on January the 6th now. Don't go to Raleigh and just lose it, because sometime our passion could get the best of us, whether you're black or white.
Yeah, you bring up a good point.
What, Humpty Dumpty?
No, blacks losing their, getting crazy when in politics.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of black people on January 6th.
Good point, Goebel. And I don't think everybody on January 6th went up there with the intention to do what happened.
Oh, no. I think people got caught up in it.
Right. So
people got caught up in it.
So let's hope our neighbors.
Well, they found 600 or 800 that definitely were up there.
Well, but our neighbors, Bill, I'm talking about our neighbors or something. Your school district, District 3.
Yeah.
Your school district, District 3, Let's hope and pray that nobody lose their head and somebody get hurt or something happen in the protest.
I don't think that'll happen. But
did you ever think January 6th would happen?
No. But I did question Trump calling a rally in the middle of COVID before we had the vaccine and bringing people up on buses and airplanes. Stop the steal. You could have protested that in your own town. You could have done it any place. There was a reason that they went to D.C., and it was to bring some of that element that did take over the Capitol. And everybody says, "Oh no, it was Antifa and all these crazy things, busloads of protesters." Well, they're finding 800 people that have been arrested and put in jail. I don't think that was the case.
Do you think Tim Sessions is going to the protest on Wednesday?
That's a good question. The question I have is, should I go?
I know nothing. But let me ask a question, though, Bill. I saw a post come from this gentleman, Earl Howard, on Facebook. I'm a big Facebook person. It says, if you can be a felon and be the president, they need to remove felon off of all job applications, rental applications, and professional certificates. If the highest position in the land can be taken by a felon, all positions should follow suit. Think about it. Need to remove felon off of all job applications, rental applications, and professional certifications. If the highest position in the land can be taken by a felon, all positions should follow suit. I like that, Goebel. Listen, if Trump want to run and a felon, I saw a good friend of mine, I won't mention his name. He posted something on Facebook soon after Trump's conviction and said, I'm voting for the felon. I'm voting for the felon. And I know this individual so well that if he heard me, what I just read and said, if we're going to treat one felon that way, hey, let's treat everybody that way. Let's take it all off our applications. My good friend would have a hissy fit. That's a South Carolina term, Bill. That's a South Carolina black term. Hissy fit. That's a hit. You ever heard hissy fit? Oh, yeah,
I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it meant.
Okay, so that's a hissy fit. So I don't know what it means either, but we always said it, right? And so how can one person, and this is a very intelligent individual, how can one person say, I'm voting for the felon, but when you look over here and say, nah, if you're a felon, you can't get a job, because it's almost like the scarlet letter, for adultery, the big A they used to have. Mm-hmm. Now it's a big F on people's chest. And Bill, people make mistakes, and especially poor people like everybody else. But poor people usually don't have the lawyer to get it plead down from a felon to a misdemeanor.
That's right. You're right. Yeah. So they go and do time. And then when they get in there, they get, they meet some friends they shouldn't meet.
Bubba.
Yeah. It gets worse.
Didn't I tell you once that Donald Trump's going to jail and Hunter Biden's going to jail, and they were going to be bunk buddies? And I said that
who would have the top bunk? It'd have to be Hunter, because I don't think Trump could get up there.
You know what? Don't start that, man. Don't start that. Hey, audience. When you all hear this on Friday, because this is pre-recorded, when you hear this on Friday, the debates will have taken place on Thursday. So you're going to get up with the debates with Joe and Hunter. And by the way, I got an email to attend a rally for President Joe Biden.
Really? Where at?
It's in Raleigh. It's going to be in Raleigh.
Wow. You going? Is it the same day as the protest in Summerfield?
Don't start that, man. The protest is not in Summerfield. The protest is in Raleigh, Goebel. But I don't think I'm going. I don't think I'm going.
No.
But I'm honored. I'm honored to get a personal invitation from, I think it's Josh Stein folks, saying, hey, here's the invitation. Fill it out. We're not guaranteeing you anything, but we're going to run your background check and make sure you're not a felon. No, felons can go now. Felons can go and go. So, but no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going. Would you go, Goebel?
I don't like driving to Raleigh.
Oh, come on, Goebel.
I don't like driving. I got to go there twice this week for business meetings, and it's like, it's just a pain. Would I go if I was invited? Probably I would, only because I'd be curious to hear what he has to say, and in the full context of his speech, because on the news you get
Yeah,
30
yeah.
seconds and you don't get the whole context. But, it's more of an interest of curiosity than anything else. Would I do the same for Trump? Probably not.
Well, speaking of former President Trump, he's going to pick his vice president selection soon. Trump reminded me of somebody said, I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know. Go from there. What's your predictions on, it's almost like, it's a boxing match coming up. What's your prediction? What do you think? How do you think the debate is going to go on Thursday evening?
Well, what drama do you think we're going to see? Because I don't think Biden's going to start doing any drama. I think the other guy's going to do some drama. So I'm trying to think, what is he going to do? They're going to cut his microphone out. So he may just keep speaking.
I think he's going to pick a fight with the moderator.
He doesn't like the moderators, either of them.
Yeah. So if
CNN, I don't even know how they got that set up. That first off, Biden got him to do it early, which is going to help Biden if he does well. And then the two moderators are from CNN, which Trump hates. You would think he'd get, one from CNN and one from another outlet that was more favorable to him, but they got what they got. So yeah, he may, do you think he'd get up and walk out?
I don't know, but I know I checked this stock on Truth Social the other day and he made close to $900,000 in one day. So I think,
well, this is a moneymaker for him.
Hey, listen, Trump's a businessman. Come on now, let's be fair. You're a businessman. I'm a businessman. Trump's a businessman.
You know how much he made per day at the trial?
No, sir.
$250,000 a day.
And the money's his money?
Well, it went to some kind of fund, and I think a large percentage goes to him, his legal expenses and other expenses. And so I think, $90 million he raised after becoming a felon.
I imagine Trump. Make felony pay, baby. Black is back, but felony pays. But I don't think a felon ever paid for a black person, Bill.
$250,000, you can buy a lot of lawyers today.
Well, so the first blow, it's almost like Rambo, he drew first blood. I think Trump's going to come out the gate just blasting Biden. And when the moderator says something, Trump's going to blast the moderator. They're not going to turn Trump's mic off. But now I was wrong because I said it was going to be a hung jury. He would not be convicted. And Odell was wrong. It was 34 times. I know Hunter Biden was fried before he went in there, but I think Hunter was guilty. I thought Hunter was guilty.
Well, I agree, too. I agree. He was guilty, and they were both guilty. So I think the fact that they were found guilty, or Trump, he's been found guilty for this hush money. He's been found guilty for not documents. He's been charged with documents, but he's found guilty with slander against that lady. He's found guilty for doing fraudulent documents.
Yeah, man.
And so, you think about it and you go, man, why is he running if he's getting all this stuff? And he keeps saying, I'm the only thing between you and them, whoever them is. And I'm like,
you think them as black people, Bill?
No, I just think he's whoever them isn't whoever's head it is.
A boogeyman.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I'm going to protect you from whatever you fear I can fix. Just send me money.
Okay.
Lots of money.
So with that being said, as everybody know, for years, I've been on this thing before 2024, no Biden, no Trump for 2024, because I just think that the United States of America has two better leaders out of everyone who's eligible to be a president. So obviously I was wrong then because Biden and Trump are the nominees. I just don't know, Bill.
Who do you think is going to be his vice president?
I used to think it would be Tim Scott, but I think Scott came off kind of weak. I don't know, because who knows what's in former President Donald Trump's mind. It might be a female, Bill.
I think it would not be a Mike Pence type of person, because he feels Mike Pence betrayed him by not stopping the steal, and Pence didn't
by not breaking the law.
Yeah, well, he didn't have the constitutional right to do it, but that doesn't stop Trump.
Okay.
But so I think he's going to get somebody, he's big about loyalty. So I think he'll have somebody very, very loyal.
But Bill, loyalty is important to a certain point, though. I mean,
Trump, it's everything.
But is he loyal?
No. Look at all the people who've been convicted around him.
So how can loyalty be important to someone who is not loyal?
Well, I think you need to ask Rudy Giuliani that. He's in trouble.
How about Michael Cohen?
Michael Cohen is another one.
But one of my guys who I like, Rex Tillerson, Rex didn't get caught up in that mess.
No, he got out and stayed out.
What do you think it is? Just power or what?
Yeah, I think some of it is. I think Trump didn't realize how powerful the position of president is in the United States, most powerful position in the world. And when people get caught up in that, it's hard to walk away. George Washington walked away from it, and the King, George, said he's the most respected man I've met that could walk away from power.
So the debate starts tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Are you going to tape it?
I'm traveling. I probably won't tape it. Sometimes, man, you get enough. It's almost like I had enough. Politics sometimes could just say I had enough.
Yeah.
And Trump's going to go in there. What's Trump going to be wearing? A blue suit, white shirt, red tie, in my opinion. What's Biden going to be wearing? A blue shirt, blue suit, blue shirt, and a blue and white striped tie on average. I don't know. I'm predicting. Biden has been reported to be locked away in Camp David, studying, preparing, and it's been reported that Trump is just being Trump. So let's go. Let's get ready to rumble, baby. I mean, and that's just kind of how it works, and we'll see what happens.
You're right. I think Biden's taking this serious. I saw on TV, they put up on TV a graphic, and it said from his 2016 campaign, there are 5 people that get convicted. In his business, there are 2 people, his CFO and his lawyer. And then in the 20 campaign, there are another 6 people convicted. All those people that started talking about the steal.
Yeah.
And like Bannon's going to jail.
Wow.
So
is Bannon in jail now?
I don't think he's in yet, but I think he's getting close.
Bill, let me tell you something that just blows my mind. For my whole life, when black people got convicted, usually they left jail with their hands behind their back with handcuffs. I've never seen nothing like now when white folks get convicted. They walk out the jail and wave at the crowd and have a press conference. I've never seen anything like this, Goebel. The closest thing I ever seen to it, like when I grew up, the people who stood on the corner begging for money were black people. Now I go down the street and I see white people out there with a cardboard sign saying, just got out of jail. I'll take anything I could. Things are changing, Goebel. What's going on, Goebel? What's going on when a person get convicted, smiles, walks outside the courtroom, throws his fist up? Somebody need to tell Donald Trump. Now that's the Black Power sign he does when he throws his fist up. He stole that from the brothers, Bill.
Well, I think a week before the convention, they're going to have his hearing.
Like go to jail hearing?
Well, whatever his punishment is. And I don't know what the options are. I'm not that conversed in it. But I know jail time is part of it. A fine is part of it. Confinement, who knows what. He has a probation officer he has to report to whenever he travels.
Does he have an ankle monitor?
But here's an interesting thing. When he had his interview with his probation officer,
yes,
which is a normal process. They want to know about your health, and there's a lot. They can ask any questions they want. He had his lawyers with him for his interview, which was, I guess, a Zoom call
with the probation officer.
Yeah. Now, I don't know too many felons that bring their lawyer on maybe they do. I don't know. But I'm like, holy cow.
In the hood I grew up in, we didn't call them probation officers. We called them your PO.
What'd you call them?
PO.
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 Yeah.
Probation officer.
Yes, but nobody said probation officer. That was too fancy.
Do you have a PO?
Didn't have a PO.
No.
Did a lot of things.
Did you know people that did?
Oh, come on, man. I knew everybody who had a PO, and the PO would come to the house and PO hit the front, knock on the front door, and the people run out the back door. I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm telling you. This whole criminal justice system, Bill, is crazy right now, folk. Oh, we just convict you of 34 crimes, and you're like, okay, where we going for dinner?
Yeah.
For dinner?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I know that the Secret Service as a contingency, was if he does get jail time.
Will they have to go with him?
Yeah.
So you have you know what? This conversation is ridiculous. This conversation that we're having is ridiculous. Think about it. This conversation we're having is ridiculous. The president of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world, we're sitting here saying, if he goes to jail, do the taxpayers pay for a Secret Service officer to be his cellmate?
Something's got to happen.
If he gets elected, all is going to go away, but the taxpayers are paying for public housing for a felon. And I thought if you're a felon, you couldn't live in public housing.
I don't know what Mar-a-Lago is, but it's not public housing.
No, I'm talking about the White House.
White House. That is public housing. You're right.
It's public housing.
Yeah. It was built by slaves.
Built by slaves. People don't understand it. Yeah. And you brought.
Have you ever been in the White House?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've been on a tour. I've never been officially.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been. It's a story there for another podcast. But yes, the White House, I had the opportunity when President Obama was in office. Mm-hmm. It's just surreal, Bill. The thing about it, the Capitol, the White House, and I'll share this much. I remember my grandfather a long time ago would unload airplanes. After getting out of World War II, he was a military MP, military police in World War II. When wasn't too many black men, MP. And I remember when I got the invitation, I was going to the Capitol to President Obama's State of the Union address, his second one. Mm-hmm. And Congressman Mark Walker had a ticket and he invited me up.
Oh, that was
and
nice.
I really appreciate that, Mark. And I remember having dirt from my grandfather's grave. And when I was packing, because we took some dirt from the grave and put it in a mason jar, as a family reunion type thing. And I took some dirt from my grandfather's grave and put it in a baggie, like a little sandwich bag. And I remember taking that to me and with me to DC. And when I was walking up to the Capitol to go into Rotunda and hear the speech, I remember taking the sand from my grandfather's grave out of the bag and just sprinkling it as I was walking and just telling my grandfather how much I appreciate what he did raising me.
Wow.
To be in this position. Wow. So this country that I love is not perfect, Bill, but America is a good country. And that's why I'm so concerned about maybe we don't understand how fragile democracy is. Because democracy is just an idea. It's just a concept.
Well, same thing with laws. What do we've got that we live by are our laws. And you start breaking down the legal system, what is left? It's crazy. I mean, if we lose our legal system and our laws, we're no longer a democracy or a republic. We're just a wayward country.
Is it about, does all these principles that we believe in, are they all supported by trust in each other as Americans?
I believe it is. If you look at what the founding fathers did, and trust me, they had a lot of arguments over this.
Definitely.
It wasn't like, oh yeah, this is a good idea, let's do it. They spent a lot of time writing the documents, arguing over it. They lost friendships over it. But it's interesting. But at the end of the day, they found common ground.
Somebody went and had a bourbon.
Something that Summerfield has not done. And let me tell you, the best way to fight common ground is get a bourbon and a cigar and go sit in a field, sit around each other and chat. And you will find common ground after a period of time.
Well, Bill, as we head toward close, just want to let you know how much we really enjoyed vacationing with you and Dory, Beverly, and myself. One a couple
Likewise,
highlights.
We did too.
Thank you. A couple highlights was sitting under the coconut tree, of course, me relaxing. Going deep sea fishing, that was fun. Going to the cigar manufacturing place with you, that was fun. Going on the farm where Odell was able to pull fresh mangoes down and eating the mangoes. But one of the most weirdest thing, audience, is Bill driving on the wrong side of the road. And remember now, when you go to Cayman Islands, there's not a lot of stoplights. There's one, I think we saw one stoplight. The majority of them are roundabouts. And here Bill goes driving. The first day it was rough. But by the sixth day, he kind of had it pat. But the first day, only by the grace of God, we weren't in two real bad accidents,
Amen.
but
Amen.
I still don't think Goebel saw those cars coming.
I did not. I had my eyes closed most of the time.
Oh, Lord.
But not only did you drive on the wrong side of the road, but we had an American vehicle, so the driver's steering wheel was on our side, American side, and we're in a British going the wrong way. And oh my gosh, the time I do remember seeing a big truck coming was when we were going fishing in the morning.
Yes.
I wasn't paying attention, and we were on a conference call with Joshua Ben Gideon, I think.
Yes.
And we were focused on that, and I pulled out on the wrong side of the road, and I'm driving like, hey, this is pretty cool. And I see a big truck coming, and I'm going, I think that guy's on the wrong side of the road. And then I realized it was us.
Well, he ran over at least one iguana.
Yeah. I thought it was a banana leaf.
Nah, it was a iguana. It was a iguana. I'm
Yeah,
sure I'm
Bev
not
saw
saying
that
it
right away.
Yeah.
So she just crushed it.
I mean, it was a good trip.
Green lizard or something that they have there. And they don't like them. So there's a bounty on them, right? You get
Yeah, I think $5 a person.
Yeah,
I mean, $5 for every iguana you take.
and you can't have guns there. So
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Speaking of guns, and I'm gonna jump off and come back, is Hunter Biden got convicted for buying a gun under false pretenses.
yeah,
Out of all the convictions, my good NRA folk and my gun people, Second Amendment, right?
yeah, they didn't come out and support him, did they?
No, and if you a clip or a bump stock, folks that come out and protest like crazy.
He didn't even have any bullets with that gun.
Exactly.
All he had was a gun,
But people like,
and he had it less than I think 48 hours.
but it's like, what happened, Bill? Usually I know the NRA would support and fight any type of thing about a gun. And so that's what I'm saying. It's so partisan now that we don't even care about what we care about.
It's very selective, no doubt about it.
Are we all just hypocrites, Goebel? Are we all just hypocrites?
Probably. I'd probably say yes to some extent. In something you are. It's hard not to be because you've been brought up with prejudices and stereotypes and you've inherited a lot of that.
Goebel, let me tell you something I heard. You never heard this before. A good white friend I had says black people are too emotional when it comes to politics. Said you all get up there and you yell and you scream and big veins come on your head and it's almost like you're going to have a stroke and fall out. And we as white people, we're rational. We sit there and watch you. As elected officials and council people, person was a council person, said, and when you get through, we're going to go ahead and vote the way we want to vote anyway. But I think on January 6th, Bill, white folks were a little emotional, too emotional. And I hope that our good friends on this week in Raleigh are not, but so emotional, Bill. Because a good white friend of mine told me that black people are too emotional. You sit and you fuss and holler over politics and veins come out of your head and you're almost going to have a stroke. And when you get through all that, we just sit and watch you.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting and watching Goebel.
We got a big week. You got debate. You got the Summerfield thing. You got Biden coming to Raleigh. I mean, this is a big week, and then 4th of July.
Yeah. 4th of July. How ironic. Celebrating our independence.
Yeah.
The Cayman Islands are not independent.
No, they actually had a birthday party for the king while we were there. And we were at the airport and I pulled one of those papers and there's all kinds of pictures just down the road from where we drove and in front of the governor's palace. We went shopping on the other side, remember? And I was looking at this and they had chairs and tables and free food and free drink. And I'm thinking, we should have crashed that party.
No.
We should have crashed that party.
The last thing the good-looking black guy need to be is arrested abroad.
Well,
Would you get arrested for Odell for crashing the party? And my black friends would say, you took your black behind all the way over to Britain to get arrested for crashing a party?
We drive down the wrong side of the road.
Oh, come on, man. My friends, they would take my black card from me, Bill. They would take my black card from me for being stupid in another country. Because I know better, Bill. I know better, Bill.
Yeah. What do you think the prisons are like in Grand Canyon? I bet you they're very hot.
Listen.
I don't like their air conditions.
But one thing about it, they got a lot of mangoes.
They got a lot of mangoes. And we were in mango season. We were driving around and Bev goes, and I like mangoes. And we both said, man, we need to find some mangoes. Yeah. And we were driving along trying to find a stand. And we didn't see one at first. And then we went to the farm.
Mangoes everywhere.
They were just dropping like flies. And the lady, what'd she tell us? She says, you go to somebody's house?
Yeah, just knock on the door and ask for permission, and people will very easily give you a bag and let you take just about as many mangoes as you want on the poor side of town. But she said, don't do that in Georgetown on the rich side of town, because those folks down there are mean.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So it's a poor side of town and rich side of town everywhere, right? And sometimes for it to be great wealth, because some of those places that we were staying over in Rums Point were $1 million mansions. Then you go on the other side of the island and it's not
shacks.
It's shacks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
With metal roofs and stuff.
So Goebel, why should the people vote for you in District 3 school board, Goebel?
I'm the best candidate.
But you got Democrats, you have Republicans, you have independents, you got all these people supporting you.
Yeah.
But are you going to take it for granted, or are you still going to be out there working?
Oh, no, I'm going to work. I'm working now at it. And I'll go door to door again. And we're going to put up a couple thousand yard signs and get some billboards up. And there's a lot of things we're going to do. So I'm excited about, my viewpoint is, if that is where God wants me, I got to work, but it's going to work out. And if not, you and I have a lot of other things on our plate that we can do. And God will open another door if that one closes. And I'm perfectly willing to accept that. So.
But what will the kids get from Bill Goebel on the school board? Because the kids can't vote. So.
No, I'm going to vote. I'm going to fight for them so they can get a better education. And
all kids?
All kids, and better facilities to learn. And these programs that, that were defunded just because of COVID going away, high dosage tutoring and learning hubs. I think what I want to do is go to Raleigh and just have a civil conversation with our state legislators and say, guys, we're underfunding. We've been doing it for years. And I think it's time to start working our way up to do that. And, there used to be statewide school bonds for the facilities.
Right.
We haven't had one in years. And I get it. A school bond is debt. Right. And the Republicans and Phil Berger don't want to have any debt. I get that. Totally get that. We've got a surplus of about $3 billion right now. When they took over, we were in debt about $7 billion, and they fixed that, which is terrific. Okay, let's keep money in reserve. I think that's a wise thing. But let's start figuring out how can we fund our schools in a better way so we're not ranked 48th or 47th in the country. And there's a way we can do that. We just got to put our heads together and figure it out.
I have a curveball I'm going to throw at you, Goebel. It's look like it's going to hit you, but it's going to curve away at the last minute. I don't know if it's going to be in the strike zone or not, but I'm going to throw it anyway. I heard a rumor, Goebel. I heard a rumor that really kind of got my attention. It says that many people are starting to start this thing that we need to take away free and reduced lunch from poor kids in school. I don't understand that, Goebel, because I was one of those poor kids who received free and reduced lunch. And it made a big difference. Have you heard that rumor, Goebel? Or is this,
I have not.
You never heard about folks say we're going to cut free and reduced lunch out of the school system?
I know when I was growing up, we had reduced lunch. We got one bologna sandwich, and that was it.
Boy, you know what? Close us out, Goebel. Oh, did you fry the bologna or not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you fried it, but it was real thin. It wasn't the thick stuff.
It wasn't thick stuff, so it didn't flip up like a umbrella or anything. You had to cut a little slit in it so it could lay flat.
Ours cupped up. Yeah, you had to get it at the right time to get it on the white bread. And it
wasn't Spam, though. It wasn't Spam. It was bologna.
It was bologna. We couldn't afford Spam. When you're in a deli, first cut is usually hard. You get it cheaper.
Okay. Well, Goebel, I've had welfare cheese before. Have you ever had welfare cheese before, Goebel?
I have, and it tastes like dirt.
Exactly.
Tastes horrible.
But you had it as an experimental thing. Someone brought it on a camping trip, and he's like, experiment. I had it out of necessity, Goebel.
I can't remember where I had it, but I remember someone bringing it, and they said, this is the whatever cheese they called it.
Welfare cheese, Goebel.
They didn't call it
welfare cheese.
But there was federal government cheese, I think they called it. And I'll tell you what,
Federal government
I
cheese?
thought Velveeta was bad. This is federal government cheese. I don't even think there's any cheese in it.
Probably not. Probably not.
No.
So, Goebel, if I could, and I can't because I'm not in your district, I would vote for you, my friend. But since I can and I will contribute financially to you, my friend.
Well, thank you.
For anybody else who want to contribute financially to my friend Bill Goebel, who's currently getting support from Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, how would they go about making a financial contribution to your campaign, sir?
Just go to GoebelNC.com and comes up with a picture and a donate button, and just $10 is, everybody do $10 will be fine.
And what will be the return on investment for those who support and invest in you?
Well, I don't think you can put it in monetary value, but I could tell you I will be the hardest working person on the school board for our kids. And you will get your representation correct. And I'll always have my door open and my phone available if you have questions or comments or even insults. I take them all and listen to them and vote for the kids. Is a vote for Goebel.
Well, as we get ready to close, the young lady said this. As a resident of Guilford County School District 3, I have watched with shock, worry, and more than embarrassment the seating of a school board member by the General Assembly. Hard-fought efforts to prevent this were not successful, and a candidate not to my choosing was given the District 3 seat. Now we have an opportunity to choose someone to represent us. We have an opportunity to vote, and our vote has never been more important. We all want what is best for every child, which means strong and well-funded public schools. We all want teachers and support staff fairly compensated and appreciated. These issues are not, of course, entirely in the purview of our school board, but Board of Education members must believe in and advocate for them. Of the 3 candidates running in District 3, after interviews and study, I endorse Bill Goebel. Bill cares about our children, and his volunteer and professional record clearly shows this. He regularly attends school board meetings, and he advocates for fairness and sufficient funding. He is open to learning and does not assume there is nothing to learn, a trait all too present in the other 2 candidates. I am a proud Democrat, but will part with the Democratic ticket for this school board seat to vote for Bill. He has earned it, and I invite my fellow District 3 voters to do the same.
Thank you.
No, thank Miss Lizzie Bidell of Greensboro.
Yeah, thank you, Lizzie. Well, it's a humbling thing when someone does that because you don't feel you deserve it. And it's the first time I've ever run for an office, so we'll see what happens. And Odell and Bev, we had a great vacation with you. I love you guys. I think next time we go on vacation, we're going to have a lot of air conditioning and we're going to have a lot more shopping.
Listen, we enjoyed it. It was nice. One thing about leaving the country, going through customs and coming back into America, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, it's the best country in the world at this time.
Amen.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah, me too. America's great. Go USA. Hey, the Olympics are coming up in Paris. Maybe we got to take the girls.
Maybe not.
Find Bill and Odell online at thecommonground.show. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.
Attention men, here's an important new podcast you need to be listening to.
So this whole issue about prostate and prostate health and all the challenges and that we're having with it, but no one's talking. So that's the reason why I started this podcast, so we can talk, so we can get understanding. I understand I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical individual. I'm just an ordinary, normal guy who had some issues to say, hey, let's talk about this thing.
P is for Prostate with Odell Cleveland. Download anytime where you get your podcasts. And join for the full podcast at www.patreon.com/Odell Cleveland.
Whether you're a big, medium, or small business, managing and growing the bottom line is important. Focus CFO brings the experience and financial acumen of a Fortune 100 Chief Financial Officer to your company at a fraction of the cost. P&L help, internal reporting processes, or any business transitions or events. Focus CFO will help you and your team have a CFO in your company's back pocket. Focus CFO. Learn more at focuscfo.com.